And welcome to this video where we will be looking at another important concept, which is intellectual properties. Just like privacy, this concept of intellectual property is very widely tested in CISSP, and therefore it is of great attention that you must pay on this topic. Just like a privacy which holds value to an individual, intellectual property may be applicable both to an individual and an organization. What are the intellectual properties? For example, copyright, which is based on the exceptions, fair sale, and fair usage. Normally, the copyright is applicable for creation of a book, art, music, or software. The copyright is automatically granted and lasts up until 70 years after the creator's death or up to 95 years after the creation by or for the corporation. Further to that, there are trademarks or registered trademarks, which are also called a service mark. For example, Nike and Coca-Cola have a distinctive trademarks which represents the value and the organization which provide the particular service. So it is very tied up to the entity and the livability of that organization. What does trademark represents? Brand name, logos, slogan. It must be registered, it's valid for 3 years and it can be renewed indefinitely. Patents, for example, are more towards the scientific journals and article related to those kind. They protect inventions for up to 20 years, and each US, Europe, Africa has their own organization which maintains the patent application. For example, cryptographic algorithm can be patented. The important criteria to meet that the invention for which the patent is filed should be novel, a new idea, should be useful for military, commercial, or civil services, and it should be non-obvious, which means it must have an inventive work involved in it. Extended to the patents, there are trade secrets on which the whole applicability and the workability of an organization depends. You cannot get away from trade secret, or you cannot give away the trade secret, because then the existence of the organization will come under severe threat. For example, Coca-Cola. The recipe for making the drinks, the concentrate, is a trade secret for Coca-Cola, and it must be preserved for the survival and the existence of the company. How does the infringement of intellectual property happen? Just like the privacy, the breach of privacy, here as well there are different ways and means. For example, infringing copyright, we have piracy, software piracy, book piracy. We have copyright infringement in terms of lifting and shifting and using somebody else's work. Trademarks are infringed by counterfeiting, making fake, like fake Rolex, fake watches, fake apps, etc. And they try to hoodwink by either using the real name or a very roundabout, very similar to the real name. Patent infringement happen when you take somebody else's work, especially the scientific work, without their permission and use it for commercial, business, or the civil purposes. Trade secret infringements are more on the domain of if the trade secret is discovered by intentionally or unintentionally, what can an organization do? It is also to protect that how this infringement of trade secret cannot be done illegally. Cyber squatting and typo squatting are some of the ways. For example, the software computer domains are hoodwinked, where the URL will look like very near to the URL of an actual business, but it will have very subtle differences, which is gonna take you to a fake website. These are also done in order to claim domains sometime if the attacker already had the information about merging or the divestiture of a company, and they probably know what the name of new company will be, and that is something they can already claim the domain on and later on sell to those merged or divested companies who will have to pay for it in order to maintain a domain based on their company name. Is there a way to protect this infringement? An answer is yes. For example, licensing is one of the ways where the legal protection is extended to the investors who should profit from their work of invention, work of labor, etc. It also helps to protect the counterfeit goods that they are not propagated or being spread out in the market, because it may have both economic and the physical risk. Also, the unlicensed software being stopped from used in enterprises, because an unlicensed software may have a lot of vulnerabilities which are either intentional or being unintentionally left. As said before, this protection is extended by different organizations who works in different capacity, different jurisdiction, but some of them are World Trade Organization, World Custom Organization, and the World Intellectual Property Organization, who work in tandem and in coordination with each other in order to extend support and prevent the infringement of intellectual properties. There are other weapons and tools that can be used. And for example, one of them is import and export control mechanism. One of the most known example of this is Wassenaar Agreement, where about 41 countries are part of it, and what they have agreed that cryptographic algorithm which uses key more than certain size should not be exported to certain countries like Iraq, Iran, China, Russia, etc. The purpose is that those cryptographic algorithms with strong keys will be so strong that it will be difficult for the countries who are part of this agreement to break it. So they want to prevent at first place itself the export of such algorithms. The arrangement on Wassenaar Agreement carries 10 special categories for which this is specifically applicable, and they are about a special material, a rare earth, material processing, how do you process, for example, rare earth material to make value out of it, electronics, computers, telecommunication used for networking devices, information security related items, sensors and lasers, which can be used for recon and other aspect, navigation and avionics, marine related, and aerospecifics and propulsion. The propulsion rockets for launching motor attacks. What this agreement covers is that trans-border data flow is closely related to import and export control, and US in particular has international traffic in arms regulation, which provides capability for US to not let arms flow in certain regions or in regions of conflict, which may be harmful for the civil society. I'll stop here. I hope you liked this episode of the first domain of CISSP. Continue reading, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you very much.